eyebrow-raising number that this company could get. That Terminix wanted it, and from what I understood from other information was that they were looking to buy up a lot of small companies. So my feeling was, it's not really a question of agreeing or disagreeing. My feeling was, you got this number, maybe they're going to go somewhere else. You know, take the money and move ahead. You know, who knows if they'll go to another company and offer them the 850. So that's just my feeling.
Sure.
So it's not a question of agreeing. It could have gone up, but as what happened in my discussion, they took the offer off the table, and at one point it went down to 750. So that was my feeling.
Well,
it's not right or wrong. It's just.
I think it's this, though, and tell me if I'm wrong. This wasn't just a conversation that you and Keith and Paul were having in 1 or 2 days in November. This conversation had been going on
for a few months.
For months, right?
A few months, not a lot of months, a few months.
And in August of 2018, you know, you're talking to...
Holy crap, you mosey more than a Georgia lawyer. You're supposed to be from New England. I expected you to have some giddy up in your step. What the hell, dude? Could we not wiffle waffle? Could we find in the nebulous fuck wherever your point is? For the love of God. Okay. Sorry. I would just like... He is like... Have y'all ever watched Timcast? He is like Ian Crossland. And look, I am sure Ian is a really nice guy. But Ian can never find in the nebulous F where the topic is. And I feel like that with this person. Which, if I'm in the mood to hear about crazy and graphene, I'm there for you, Ian. Sometimes you make a point. But if you're a lawyer, I'm going to need you to not prick my ADHD.
Paul and to Keith, and you're saying that in terms of the offer going up, you're telling Keith that time is on your side.
Pastor.
Are you not? You don't remember? Can I show you something?
Yeah, remind me.
Okay. Judge, I'm going to approach with D10.
D10.
Show you this. So this is an email, okay? And I'm just going to direct your attention to who it's from, who it's to.
Oh, I remember this, yeah, sure. I remember this, yes.
Okay. So,
I mean, you always keep things close to the vest when you're making a deal. I mean, that's...
sure.
You don't tell somebody what the price is going to be, because that's the price.
Right. And you're saying in this, we figure that time's on our side. Company keeps improving in the right direction, and the price we don't...
But then they came back at 750, so maybe the price wasn't on that side.
This is August of 20...
Okay, why the hell are we evaluating the accountant and business management of a man who embezzled from children? I really don't give a crap. Terminix didn't end up buying them, or Paul didn't profit, so who the hell cares? I just like things to make sense and to fit a purpose, and at this point, massaging Paul's ego that he's a good businessman, it serves no purpose.
August 20th to 2018, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. You just showed him a document. He hasn't identified it. I don't know what it is. I don't know who the to and from are. I don't know what you started reading from it. I need more information from that before we continue.
This is an email from Steve Weinstein to Keith Caneiro, dated August 28th, 2018.
Now, spoiler alert, I have been watching little snippets of this, and this is just the start of the judge being effing done with the defense. So be on the lookout for our judge to turn into Red Foreman and want to shove a boot up the defense's behind. That's kind of why I wanted to cover this trial. I kept getting little pop-ups like, judge again expresses frustration with Caneiro defense. So I'm here for it. I'm not here for another trial with children involved, unfortunately, but a judge getting pissed off righteously, and I think he's going to be more of a Borowski than a Schroeder. So I'm here for a Borowski kind of moment.
At 3:41 and 16 seconds in the afternoon.
What was the date?
August 28th, 2018.
I haven't been watching closely enough to know where... And we still have to kill time.
And you're saying you remember that?
Now that I see it, I
For
remember,
verdict.
but I don't remember that.
All right. Go ahead. Now you can continue. Now I understand what you're talking about. And I hope jurors understand where we are? Okay, great.
So-
Go ahead.
Oh my God, if you namaste pose one more time, like, sir, you realize you are just exaggerating stereotypes at this time of the man-lit, man-bun yoga instructor, beta male. I mean, you might as well be wearing a hot fuchsia suit at this point. Like, Neil Druckmann is your hero, possibly, allegedly. Did you like The Last of Us 2? I feel like, yes, he likes Neil Druckmann, and well, Starfleet Academy, he's a big fan.
Trust me?
Why don't I ask a question?
sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Then, actually, right above that, in this same document, we see that Keith responds
Yes.
to you.
Should I read it?
Well, do you remember what he told you?
I don't remember that until I read this now. I didn't remember that.
Okay. Well, then I would ask you to read it to yourself then.
You can.
Uh-oh, sidebar.
Sir, don't say
sidebar.
anything. Can
Someone's gonna get yelled at. Paul, put your hand down. No one cares. Also, can we talk about putting your defendant in the sweater shirt combo? Because it makes your client look like he's not safe around schools, in my opinion. He would look much better in a suit. I think he looks like he's trying to be Bill Cosby when we weren't afraid of that. And I just don't like the sweater look. Yeah, that's Paul. He looks a little like he's going to tell you about the good news of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And no offense to anyone LDS, but he does kind of look like a missionary to me. It might be the white shirt. And let me state on the record that everyone I've met that has practiced the LDS faith has been an awesome person, just trying to human like the rest of us. Okay, I think I've officially gotten myself off of the hate list from, well, Utah. So I might be allowed in. It just looks like they're trying to make him look like an 8-year-old, and he's in his early 60s, I believe. It's just very not age appropriate, and I don't know. They're making me watch Paul. I'm gonna make fun of him.
I apologize. So, you did have a chance to read the rest of this document,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Now, without telling us what was said by anybody other than yourself, okay? This is a back and forth email between you and Keith about the potential sale of EcoStar, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
specifically, we're talking about August of 2018.
Correct.
And this is several months before the November conversation that you testified with the prosecutor about, right?
Yes, August is before November. Thank you, defense attorney. You're doing great. Tomorrow we're going to work on colors.
August, yes, same year, yes.
And so, and obviously, your impression of this conversation, this is back in August, is that it's not just Paul at that point in time who's hopeful for a higher number. It's you, too, right? And it's Keith, too.
Yes.
And
Come on, Starshine, let's go.
And is it fair to say that you had other communications with Keith and with Paul on the issue of the sale between August and November?
It's fair to say I don't remember them, but it's fair to say.
Just to refresh your recollection on that issue, Judge, I would like to approach with D5.
D5? Okay.
And just for record purposes,
Someone sink someone's battleship already. I mean, wait, wrong game.
this is an email, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Say yes or no?
Yes, sorry.
And is it an email from Keith Caneiro?
Keith to me.
Okay. And the date of this is September 13th of 2018?
Correct.
Okay. Could I just have you read this to yourself?
To myself.
Yes.
He's like, look at me, I'm doing good. I'm following all the steps. I'm a good lawyer. Also, could you button your jacket when you're standing up? Hippie.
Okay.
Okay. One point of being here that there were additional conversations that you and Keith had about this sale between August and November, right? Is that yes?
You already
Yes.
asked that.
And those conversations were not definitively about Keith accepting an offer of $850,000.
Well, based on that email I just read, no. It's just conceptually thinking about it, planning ahead, strategizing.
Okay. Keith is thinking he might accept that offer,
Correct.
but he's not saying. In the November email that the prosecutor showed you, Keith is saying, "Let's do it." Right?
Correct.
But prior to then, statements like that were not being made by Keith. Fair to say?
Fair to say.
Okay. Because everybody is considering what their options are, right?
Of course, yes.
And that would only make sense for everybody to do, right?
Correct.
But when we get to November, Keith is concerned that his contract with the Duke estate might not renew.
Correct.
And that's when Keith is really motivated to sell EcoStar.
Correct.
And that's when he's on board to take the price of $750 that they're offering.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. Is it in it? I know they dropped the price to $750.
Yeah. This is, it's pretty speculative.
But EcoStar was...
Okay, I know it's my ADHD, but could the bailiff get his uniform any tighter? Now, I mean, he's buff and all that, but I mean, that just has to be uncomfortable. That looks so skin tight. So I'm not making fun of him. I'm just like, oh, that just looks so uncomfy. Because it's all cutting into his like arm meat. Ugh. Look, I'm just saying I don't like stuff all tight and pinchy.
a 50-50 company between Keith and Paul, like you said.
Correct.
And that means that Keith and Paul are both going to have to be on board with the sale,
Of course.
in order for it to take place.
Correct.
Paul, you saw in that email the
Those are some Gloria Vanderbilt jeans. My mom told me about having jeans so tight in the 80s and 70s that you would lay down and use a wire hanger. I mean, before your mom told you no more. And then you'd like cinch yourself into them and hope you never had to unbutton them. Now, that seems to be a trend that is still on point for the women of size in my Walmart. So I don't think it ever died.
prosecutor showed you, they come back at $750. You say this is a tremendous offer. Paul says they said $850.
No, I think I said $850 was a tremendous offer. And when we held up, then it became $750.
Could I have your
Defense, possibly read the emails before you try to introduce them as evidence. Oh no, I'm running into that problem. I am a medium everywhere except for my boobular region, and then it's no.
Okay. I'm sorry, so this is S10. This is you saying,
We gotta start here. They said $850. Let me respond to them.
You guys can't have a conversation
I'm not,
amongst
I'm just going to
yourselves.
talk to myself. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
I love that the lawyer is using the witness as his phone a friend. Oh my God, he wants to be a millionaire. What is going on here? Did you happen to look at any of the evidence before you came into work today, Cletus?
I think it's based on the $850. Sorry, it's confusing emails.
okay, but anyway, the point is, they come back, right? Keith wants to take the offer, right? And Paul says, they said $850, right?
Correct.
Meaning, they're not offering $850 now. They said $850,
Correct.
right? Meaning also that Keith wanted to take the $750 at that point in time.
Maybe, I don't remember that, but possibly.
Okay. Judge, could I just approach you and ask you?
Sure.
You gave a statement to the state, right? You gave a statement to the police about this case,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
And you know that that was documented?
Is this River's first, River Tristan Starshine's first trial? Because and I'm really not trying to dog on him. I am irritated because he seems to be confused as to what he's doing. But he seems kind of unused to the procedural kind of aspects of this. Now, Paul Caneiro did start off with private attorneys at the start of this case, but these are public defenders, and this is not to dog on public defenders. Public defenders are generally very good and have the kind of procedural stuff down. He looks kind of confused that he has to explain and call out for the record what email this is, where they're looking. He seems really confused, and typically your public defenders are in courts more often than nearly any other criminal attorney or criminal defense attorney, because they're always defending people. There's always people that can't pay. So his kind of confusion makes me wonder if this is like one of his first trials, and just observationally, he seems to not be with it.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to show you this. This is S9. It says Statement of Stephen Weinstein at the top.
Correct.
Okay. I'll just have you flip through this and see if you recognize it.
Oh, about the 850?
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. But just take a look at the last page.
Oh, that's it.
See your signature on that?
Frodo got to Mount Doom faster than we're getting to your point. Could we get there before, Peter Jackson remakes The Hobbit again?
Yes.
Okay. So flip back, if you could, to page 4.
Sir, what's the date of the statement?
This is January 24th, 2019.
Yeah.
How many pages is the statement, sir?
The page...
Let him answer.
9 pages.
And did you sign the last page?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recognize it?
I recognize my signature, yes.
Do you recognize the entire document?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
Oh my God. Is the judge having to lay foundation for this lawyer? Tristan, were you awake during class? Like, sir, I say this as a twice college dropout, and proudly so, because I don't have any loans. I paid mine off. Though I do feel like, if I didn't get the degree, we should have, called it even. Anyhoozle. Sir, I say this as a comfortable non-lawyer, but do you know what you're supposed to be doing here?
I remember these words, and I remember... I remember...
So is that the statement you gave to the police?
Yes.
Any doubt in your mind?
No.
Okay, now go ahead. Whatever page you
Tristan, stop standing there looking like a moron. The judge is getting pissed.
want. Mr. Murray.
Okay, so now that you've read that, the detective asked you, can you tell us who the offer was from and how much it was for? And that's on line 22 of page 4. You see that, right?
This is page 4. Oh, yes.
Okay. And then you answer that question on line 24 of the same page.
Correct.
Right? And your answer is, the offer was for roughly $850,000.
Correct.
But that was reduced to $750,000 by Terminix.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Could I have that? Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so I asked ChatGPT, is the defense for Paul Caneiro new to law? Because that's basically all I could figure out for the cluster F that is this questioning. Now, Monica, the one that did the opening statement, is actually listed as Assistant Deputy Public Defender. Andy Murray, the one I've been yelling and calling Cletus and Tristan, is also from the Public Defender's Office, but it doesn't say how many years he has. So they're not brand new to the law, and they have some experience. Well, this is, comforting. Paul, you did a great job. How you feeling? Dear Lord Tristan, go faster.
I would be correct to say, though, that wherever Keith was, when you would go to the office, the Asbury Park office on a monthly basis,
Yes.
Keith would not be there.
Correct.
He was never there when you were there.
I would never say never, but not a lot of times when I was there. Correct.
You would see Paul far more often than you would see Keith.
More
at that
often than Keith. Correct.
No wonder this trial was going to take 5 to 7 weeks. Holy God. Find a point, Cletus.
Trust account that you testified. You would have to prepare the estate and gift tax forms for that account potentially every year.
Potentially, yes.
Yes, or quarterly,
Depending
depending.
on whether there were contributions, I guess, above a certain.
Exceeding that amount for that year. I don't remember what it was. It's probably around $10,000 or $11,000.
In order to do that, you would need documents about the trust account.
Correct.
And
welcome, Squid Pro Quo Raiders. We are on, I think, the second witness of the Paul Caneiro case. This is a case where the defendant, Paul Caneiro, has been accused of the quadruple homicide of not only his brother, but his brother's wife and their 2 children. But we are also on verdict watch for the Uvalde case. Now, I'm probably going to go for a little bit longer, maybe an hour longer. I don't know in regards to the Uvalde case as far as what exactly his rules and the courtroom rules are as far as the lateness that the jury can stay there, and kind of his general rule. Like, we knew that Bev wasn't going to let anyone stay late, but I don't know about this judge, so I'm trying to at least hang on until we would typically end. Knowing my luck, I will end a stream, I will go try to eat some food, and that's when the verdict will come back.
you received those, you said initially, from...
The defense, crap, I'm a professional. The defense in this trial is working every one of my ADHD nerves because he, like Ian Crossland, if you've ever watched Timcast, can barely find a point with a map and Mr. Tumnus right next to him to show him how to get into Narnia. So he might be testing the Jesus in me, and I don't have a whole lot left. Now, if you want something to be rage-inducing, I would recommend that you check out the rebuttal closing statement from the state in the Uvalde case, because never before have I seen a more unhinged and ridiculous woman. What's Narnia? It's that imaginary land in the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So yeah, I'm basically just waiting until the end of the day. We're closing in on 4 hours on the deliberation clock. I don't foresee the verdict coming in tonight as much as I joke, just because of the amount of information and evidence. There were over 1,000 pieces of evidence in the Uvalde case, and I think the jury's going to need to take some time to kind of process all of that and, talk about all the kind of horrible things that they had to see. I think that the defense did pretty good, and the state was just horrific, as always. But I did not think that the lady lawyer on rebuttal was going to be as bad as she was. And if you want to see something super de-duper snarktastic, I will be making a clip of this. But the defense actually used the state's opening in their closing statement to prove that they were full of cockapoo-poo. So there you go. But now we are on to this case. Now, look, I'm going to tell you guys, the defense in this case could not find a question in a wet paper bag. And they're annoying the crap out of not only me, but the judge. The reason I kind of picked this case, I wasn't itching for another case that horribly involves children, but I chose this case because every other day I'm getting pop-ups from Court TV as we're doing Uvalde. Judge pissed at defense. Judge ticked at defense. Judge exasperated with defense. Now, ponytail lawyer seems to be either relatively new at this, because he doesn't seem to know like the standard operating procedure for how to, present a document, how to put the information into the record. He seems to have wandered in here and like, I can play a lawyer.
Going to square one physically,
Correct.
and then later by getting them from Paul.
Correct.
When the prosecutor showed you those documents before with your check marks on them,
Yes.
those were bank records, right?
Correct.
And they were the bank records from the trust account.
Correct.
And those were records that you had reconciled.
Correct.
And this is something that you had done for years at that point. Certainly since 2010 until 2017, you
Lead
were
paint?
engaged in that activity, right?
Correct.
What we saw,
How close is New Jersey to 3 Mile Island? Where was he during the 3 Mile Island incident? I feel like we need questions answered.
in those records were debits from the trust account to an account that you said you didn't know what it was, but the last four numbers were 3837.
Correct.
Right. Now, those debits would have been on those records when you originally reconciled, right?
Correct.
And you were aware then that in these prior years, in 2013, 14, 15, 16, that there were debits on the trust account
Correct.
that were not going to the insurance company,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
I mean,
So I was aware Paul was stealing before we caught him really stealing. I don't know where you're going with this defense. I mean, it's a bold strategy, but let's see where he goes with this.
that's
Correct.
Is that fair to say?
Fair to say.
So, in all these prior years, by having access to these trust account documents, you could see that there was money leaving the trust account, going into an account that you didn't know, right?
At the time. Correct.
But that wasn't the Canada Life policy.
Correct.
Sunshine, could you get to
In
a
prior
point?
years as well, not only were there debits from the trust account to an account ending in 3837, there were also debits
Oh, wait. Okay,
to an account.
one sec. Whoever is
ending
crinkling the wrapper.
1361. Do you recall that?
Whoever's crinkling that wrapper next to the microphone is getting sent to Greenland. Oh crap, where did I put it? Doo-doo. No, where did it go? Oh, it's behind there. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. It looks like we are back in the courtroom, so I'm getting... All right.
Two will soon learn his fate.
Now, officials say that the lives of 19 students and 2 teachers, they were taken that day after police waited more than an
got a
hour to
verdict?
intervene. And Gonzalez faces up to 58 years in prison if he's convicted on all of the counts against him.
Yes, and we see they've been out 3 hours, 47 minutes. A perfect time to bring in Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson.
I don't
Thank
wanna-
you for being with us as always, Matt. You've been tracking this trial closely. What have we heard from that jury, Matt?
Judge Ashley, Julia, nice to see you both. So it's been an emotional trial at times with disturbing graphic evidence that we haven't been able to show you, but the jury has seen it. And it appears that this jury is focused on some...
What the hell happened to Ryan Seacrest? Good God.
some of that key evidence in this case. We have 2 jury questions so far. Here they are. The jury asked for an easel with markers and a witness list in order of their testimony and a list of the evidence. The second question, not too much longer later this afternoon, the jury asked for a monitor or laptop. Why is that telling? Well, the jury listened to testimony for 10 days during this 11-day trial. The jury watched disturbing body camera video. They watched graphic crime scene photos on monitors and heard from 38 witnesses. The witnesses included investigators, survivors of the shooting, and family members of the victims, many who were emotional on the stand. Adrian Gonzalez is the former school resource officer charged with 29 counts child endangerment, and he faces up to 58 years behind bars if convicted. All parties being instructed even right now by the judge to be within 15 minutes of that courtroom. No one's going to wait if there is a question or a verdict in this case.
Now we know the last thing this jury heard were those closing arguments. What stood out to you about them?
Well, first off, they were very powerful closing arguments.
No. The state's rebuttal argument was pure insanity. Okay, so it looks like that we are in for the long haul, y'all. I am going to be texting Mr. Mo and seeing if he can put a pizza in for me, because we're here. They're giving, sorry, I really haven't eaten all day, which is not good because I am an ADHDer who can forget to eat, which is really, really bad for you. Like, really bad. You're not supposed to do that. Ta-da. Sorry. Can't, no, and I refuse to make myself rewatch her closing statements. But we are going to go back. I thought they teased me. Court TV, you absolute butt monkey
Arguments
teases.
from both sides in that Texas courtroom this morning. Prosecutors said that Gonzalez failed to act as an officer and save lives, focusing on saving the children, while his defense team told the jury that the state was looking for a scapegoat, not looking at any of the other officers' actions in the same way. Both sides telling the jury that the trial will send a strong message to officers nationwide, but which message depends on the verdict outcome. Take a listen.
This case is about, and it's always been about, holding officers to the duty that's mandated for them in the law. That when you are a peace officer for a school district and you raise your right hand and say, I am going to be a peace officer, I'm going to do my job, but you're going to be held responsible. You're going to be held to that duty.
The problem is the message that will be sent is be Officer Hill. Set up perimeter even though you're not asked to set up perimeter. Don't go in. Don't go into the eye of the storm. Don't even wait 30 minutes. Stand back. Don't do anything because I don't want to be sitting in that chair. That's the message that will be sent.
Nearly 3.5 years to get to this point in time. Emotions, we have to say, are running.
I will keep an eye on Court TV, so you don't have to see any of this. But with the judge not letting people go very far away, it does seem like he intends to let them deliberate into the evening hours.
Now that you tell me, but I don't remember.
I would like to show you the document and see if you recognize it.
Who is unwrapping the world's most annoying and largest Werther original? For the love of God, turn off your mic. Have a little bit of mic courtesy.
Judge, this is D32.
D32, okay.
Granny Smith, there have been two questions that the jury has sent. They wanted a whiteboard with markers and a list of the witnesses and the evidence. Now, also, they wanted a laptop so they could possibly watch videos, and the judge has told everyone involved in the case to not leave any farther than 15 minutes from the courthouse in case there are more questions. Yeah, that's Nosy Rosie is right. The judge did told them to plan on full days, which at a minimum would be 5:30 Texas time, so 6:30 my time, and it is 5 o'clock my time. So about an hour. Now, it wouldn't shock me if the judge is willing to let them deliberate later. In the case of that, I will stay on as long as humanly possible, but then if it goes past 8, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I turn into a potato every night. I don't plan to stay up. So
This is an email, okay? This email, we'll just go to the top, okay?
JKD Buck, this man is honest to God if Ian Crossland from Timcast became a lawyer. It is the vibe. I'm half expecting him to talk about graphene and communism or something.
Sure, go ahead. Does it appear to be at the top from Keith Caneiro?
Yes.
Does it appear to be to you?
Yes.
Does it appear to be dated May 11th, 2017?
Yes.
Flipping through, oh, I should ask you, do you have an independent recollection of receiving that particular email?
I don't.
Okay. I just want you to flip through to page 3, okay? And you can just look at that yourself and flip through page 3 and 4 of that document and tell me if you've seen that before.
Oh, thank you so much, Heather May. I appreciate it. I appreciate your service at a public school, and I will be continuing to cover in about an hour to an hour and a half. I don't know where I'm going to actually, but as I can, I will be recording me reading through the DOJ report on Uvalde, the Texas Congress report or House report, and also the Uvalde city report. I will be adding those over time to my playlist for Uvalde. I really do want to see if anything, was actually done to correct some of this. I am really quite horrified that there might be more schools that are very lackadaisical with their security. Whether it's due to being inconvenient for the, teachers, or it's a lack of funding. And I would much rather that we didn't do a trial and we, spent the resources going into schools and making sure that they have a workable security system that the teachers won't bypass. But that would be logical. And when have we ever done that as a species? Interesting Newport Marina. Thank you so much.
I don't remember ever seeing this. I don't. I do not remember seeing this. I might have, but I don't remember right now.
Okay. Do you have any reason to dispute the fact that this email was sent to you?
No reason to dispute it.
Do you have any reason to dispute the fact that when this email was sent to you, it contained an attachment?
Okay, yes, I don't remember, but no reason to dispute.
any reason then to dispute the fact that in years prior to 2018, withdrawals from that trust account were made not just to an account ending 3837, but to other bank accounts as well?
Possibly. Well, you just showed me that, so I'd have to say yes, but I don't remember that.
You don't remember?
Correct.
Do you remember an account, the last four numbers of which are 1361, that you encountered in any of your dealings with Square One or the Caneiros?
You asked me for 4 digits of an account number? I mean, that's pretty difficult. And you're talking about 7, 8 years later? It kind of sounds familiar, but I can't remember that.
Okay. If you were to see a record connected with that account, could you tell me, would it refresh your recollection as to whether you handled that in some capacity in the past?
Yes.
Okay.
Let Kim Kardashian answer the question or ask the questions.
This is D33,
D33, okay.
and this is a TD Bank record.
May I just see that, please?
Yeah, sure.
And this is what I'm talking about. Is he new? He doesn't know to show it to the state. He doesn't know kind of procedurally what he's doing. And yet he passed the bar in 2008. Sir, let me explain to you the differences between you and me. In 2008, you graduated from law school. In 2008, I had my second child, and now she's graduating with honors from high school. Now, I'm not saying, because it's apples to oranges, but I'm just saying, what is it you do here?
You want me to see the debit or credit on it?
No, I'm just asking you to see
Okay,
if you
yes.
recognize the account
So it's
itself.
J. Martin Systems before they closed it in 14.
Okay. So this is an old operating account for Square One.
Okay,
Is that fair?
that's fair.
And it ends, this account number ends in 1361.
Correct.
And this is a closed account, but you don't know when it closed.
When the company closed, I don't remember now when J. Martin Systems was dissolved, but that company was closed, correct?
But this particular account, you don't know when this account was closed.
No.
If there were withdrawals from the trust account to the company account in prior years, we imagine that those would have been available for you to see when you did the trust reconciliation.
Correct.
And obviously, if you saw those and didn't mention anything to Keith about them, tell me if I'm wrong, I'd imagine that would either be because you didn't notice them, or because if you did, you didn't think that they were a big deal.
No, everything's a big deal, but right now,
Yeah, accounting's kind of one of those jobs where it's detail oriented. You can't kind of wing it like law. I'm looking at you, son.
Pulling things out of context, and I don't know the actions I would have taken back then on these items. I would have definitely not classified them as payments to the Canada Life Company, and I might have spoken to Paul, I might have spoken to Keith. I don't remember what I did at this point. That's 2014, for example. And I also, as I said earlier, when things were not financially in good shape as they were, the premiums were not getting paid, and money was going from all the different companies to cover things. So I don't remember the actions that I would have taken. So nothing is unimportant, but now it's out of context, I can't remember.
Okay, well, you bring up a good point. So let's take a step back.
I have never hated yoga more than right at this moment, and this affected prick doing this prayer pose stand. I don't know why, but it bothers the ever-living snot out of me today. Now, tomorrow might be different. I might have my faith in humanity restored. Thank you.
You said money was going different places from the two companies back and forth, right? It wasn't just from the companies, though, either. It was, money was coming from Keith's personal account into the company, right? And coming from the company into Keith's personal account.
What time frame are we talking?
This is, I would say, and I'll ask the witness judge, but I would imagine this is really throughout the 2010s that this is going on.
Could I respond?
Yes.
Okay, so as I said earlier, there was an email from Keith regarding the sale of EchoStar or whatever. In the email, Keith even discussed that.
Hold on, sir. Don't say what Keith said in that email.
I'm sorry, the email, when I read the email.
Okay, but I don't want you to say what Keith said in the email. That's hearsay. But
There was another-
you're trying, hold on.
I'm sorry.
I want you to illustrate your point and respond. Just be careful in what you say, if you don't mind, please. Thank you, sir.
There was an understanding that there was factually an understanding that there were loans from officers or shareholders on the books. Everybody understood that.
Sure. But we should probably explain that, though. So a loan from an officer on the books means that, for our purposes, Paul and or Keith had given money to the company.
Possibly, yes.
And on the books, that was a liability for.
This is the second witness, and the judge is already fed up with the defense. So I am waiting for some Borowski like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm so disappointed in you as like a lawyer. I'm waiting for the disappointed Indian dad meme, to come through. So I'm just really waiting for, that's why I picked this trial. I wasn't itching to find another trial that involved children, but I was looking for one where we could join in the judge's righteous fury against stupidity.
Correct.
And you actually did prepare documents to demonstrate the company's assets and liabilities throughout your involvement with them, correct? And those you did, I think those are balance sheets, they're called?
Well, after a while, I just prepared tax returns, but earlier years, I would have prepared some compilation financial statements.
Okay. So, but you had mentioned money going back and forth, so I just want to get back there for a second. Keith would put money into the company, Keith would take money out of the company, correct?
Correct.
And that would happen throughout the 2010s, that was going on,
Correct.
right? Paul would put money in the company, Paul would take money out of the company.
Correct.
That would happen throughout the 2010s,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Keith would use the company to pay for certain personal expenses, and he would then put the money back into the company later, correct? Keith had the company pay for his tuition to go back to school, right?
Correct.
There was, on the balance sheets that you prepared, there was a company credit card through American Express you had to keep track of, right?
The bookkeeping department did, yes.
The bills on that were quite large.
Correct.
You had to factor those into the balance sheets and whatnot that you put together, right?
Correct, yes.
And you would see the statements from the credit card, from the American Express account, right?
Yes.
And you knew that the credit card there were open accounts within it, not just for Keith and Paul, but for Jennifer as well.
That I don't remember, but they had their credit cards all together, yes.
And there was money in terms of 401k loans
Yes.
that Keith had taken, right?
I don't remember, possibly. When things were slow, that might have happened, yes.
Okay. So, was Keith owed by the company? How much was Paul owed by the company?
I have absolutely no idea at this point in time.
If I were to show you a balance sheet that you prepared from November 30th of 2016, would you be able to tell me if you prepared it?
Yes.
Sir, did you drink the hair products? How many times did you rinse your head when the shampoo says rinse and repeat? I feel like he'd use the entire bottle of shampoo and then send his significant other out for another one. I feel like he is the reason that there is warnings on hot coffee at McDonald's. Why they tell you to unwrap the Pop-Tart before you put it in the microwave.
Judge, this is D35.
D35? Okay, thank you.
Someone sink a battleship already?
Just to start, is there a cover letter on the front of that?
This is not, I did not prepare this. This is from your internal books.
I see.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph would you say that you looked at anything before you came in? Or his mom. Look, let's be real. His mom picked out that thing. She had a tie tack and he forgot it.
Could you flip back to the first page?
Yeah.
Is that your letterhead?
This I got from the company books, yes.
Okay.
And all I said on here is, can I read this, Judge?
I don't know what it says. Prosecutor, have you even seen the document yet?
No, I could see it right well.
This is what I'm talking about. He doesn't seem to know the procedure. Oh my God, I think we might have gotten the disappointed Indian dad look from the judge. Oh my God, that is the look. That's the look that, sir, your behavior right now is negating both the theory of evolution and the benevolence of a divine, creator. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. The judge legitimately looks like he's waiting for Ashton Kutcher to pop out like, punked!
You have an objection to him reading the front page? Okay. Yes, you can. You can read it once you have it back.
Please be advised that EchoStar Pest Management and J. Martin Consulting Square One are affiliated under Section 414 of the IRS Code under subsection BC, M, or O. Thank you. And this was to, I don't remember the year now, but this had to do with the retirement plan. But
I know, Karate Cat Mom, that the McDonald's coffee case was no joke, and she had very scalded no-no parts. I just feel like if one orders coffee, the implication is that the beverage is hot. Unless one orders an iced coffee, then I would think that she has the expectation of it being a cool beverage. But kind of implicit in coffee is that it's hot, as we generally understand it. But, I mean, hey, her lawyer got her paid, so good lawyerin'.
I did not prepare that financial statement. That's from the books, from the QuickBooks Online at the office.
Okay. Which you had
I don't
asked.
even know if I attached it to this. I really don't know at this point.
You don't know how this got
I
it?
prepared the letter, but I don't remember.
Okay. So if I'm
And the
understanding.
purpose of the letter was because all the employees would have to be covered by a retirement plan. That's why I mentioned it.
Right. So I guess my understanding I'm getting from you right now is you don't know how this letter, with your letter.
Okay, Jason. All right, guys. I didn't realize that McDonald's had been warned. I haven't read that case. I did know that it actually was a real case, but I didn't know that they had been warned that their coffee temperatures were too hot, and they continued. Yeah, then good on her. Make them pay.
letterhead got attached to these documents?
I don't remember. The only thing I could say is that at one point in time, as it was asked previously, Paychex handled the retirement plan, and then for a couple of years or so, they switched to another company to handle the retirement plan. So it makes sense to me, they needed to know this so they would know that EchoStar and J. Martin Consulting employees would all have to be covered. So I was asked to then put that letter. I don't even remember being asked, I don't remember doing it, but that's my letter.
Okay. Though you didn't prepare this document, that's attached to the letter, you recognize it as an internal company document from Square One.
Correct.
And you recognize it being from their QuickBooks.
QuickBooks Online, and I don't even understand why that had to be attached to that letter if it was going to a retirement company, so I really can't help more than that.
I understand. What I'm trying to find out more, okay, is not why it's attached to the letter. It's more, given your knowledge that this came from the Square One QuickBooks, which you had access to, by the way.
Yes.
And could review regularly, right?
When I visited, yes.
Right. Given your knowledge that this is a document from that location, would you be able to verify the accuracy of a line item in this if I were to show it to you?
Yes.
Okay. This is page 2, okay? I'm sorry, page 3 of D35.
No, this is two. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Now, you know what I would watch, ABC? These two living in a house together like the Odd Couple. One's Richard Dreyfuss, the other one's Ian Crossland. And they get up to crazy hijinks. You know what I don't want to see them, giggling about? A trial. I'd like one person in this duo to know what the hell they're doing. And it seems like the accountant does. I was kind of hoping the lawyer would too.
This is page 3. Sorry.
Page 3. That's okay. That's okay. Just going to ask you to look towards the line.
Yes. There were 2 loans payable to Keith and Paul.
Okay. What was the loan payable to Paul?
At the time, the loan payable to Paul, and I probably would have to have made an adjustment for this $32,000. But on here, the loan payable to Paul was $179,285.34.
Okay. And the loan payable to Keith?
At the time was $118,690.92.
Okay. Thanks.
What does loan payable mean?
It means that they either put money in directly into the company or may have paid expenses on behalf of the company, and that money would be owed back to them at that point in time.
Can you see from the sheets what they were for? How they paid it in?
I'd have to go back and look, because there were various, they might have paid money on behalf of the company for computer equipment and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure that the jurors understand what that money was. Go ahead.
So, what this is going to show is, aside from the monetary amounts, right, is that both Paul and Keith are taking their money and putting it into the company.
Yes, correct.
Right? And the purpose of that could be to fund payroll in a given week, right?
Correct.
It could be for the purchase of office supplies.
Correct.
It could be for any number of things. But the point is that when they transfer the personal money into the business, it's for the purpose of the business. Fair to say?
Correct.
Is there a point in all of Carmen Sandiego in her geography lessons that you would get to at any point?
The other thing of what you just testified to about D35 is that as it pertains to D35, Paul is owed
You would
more
think.
than Keith is.
Yes, at that point in time, yes.
So at this point in time, the indication would be that Paul has put more money in than Keith and gotten less money back, right?
Well, I don't know about getting less money back. I know at that point his loan was larger than Keith's.
Because he had put more money in.
Correct.
At that point in time. Okay. And that was $179,000. Over the years, did you would have interactions with Tiffany Rivera?
Correct.
Okay. You had a chance to speak with her, obviously, in person, correct? She would also maybe communicate with you in writing from time to time?
I remember in the early years, I wasn't a big email person, so I don't know about email. When you say, I guess writing, you mean emails.
Tiffany Riviera was, I believe, an office manager or possibly in charge of bookkeeping as Square One grew. Originally, I think they used him to kind of incorporate and do the accounting, but then as the company grew, they moved to in-house payroll and things like that. But he still did their quarterly books or annual books, I think. I don't know. At this point, I really don't know why this witness is still up here. The state brought him up because he was aware that Keith had found out the night before he was murdered that the life insurance was not being paid. The premium was not being paid with money that he was depositing into an account that Paul had access to for the second time in this year. And see you later, Heather May. Be careful, stay warm, and get your snow supplies ready if you're going to be affected in the giant snow hell freezing over event that's happening this week.
Maybe some, but maybe you should call me.
Okay. You've obviously seen a ton of Square One and EcoStar documents throughout the time that you were providing accounting services to them, right?
Correct.
And those documents would include not just, financial records, but sometimes lists of transfers between companies and things like that, right?
Yes, I believe so.
And Tiffany might have written something in pen on some of those documents.
Maybe, yes.
You had an opportunity to observe her handwriting over those years. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Your impression was that the checks were sent from the trust account to the insurance company. How?
But to ask that question.
How did the checks, who wrote the checks for the trust to go to the insurance company?
As I said earlier also, for the most part, the procedure was to be that there would be a payroll transfer to the TD bank account. But that doesn't mean that all through the years that happened that way. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there were checks written from Square One, which I would consider like against the loan payable officer or a shareholder distribution. It all depends on the flow of money, cash flow at that time.
Okay. Let me see if I understand you.
Ian, you don't understand anything. Don't attempt this. It will hurt you and it will hurt me seeing you try to think. We will all be in pain, and I'm a recovering Catholic, so I'm trying to get over masochism.
Ideally, the trust account would have regularly been funded through payroll.
Correct.
In the real world, in reality, that didn't always happen.
Correct.
Meaning that the trust, right, is responsible for making quarterly payments to the insurance company.
Correct.
But in order for the trust to do that, it's got to be adequately funded.
Correct.
And you're asserting that because of other business needs over the years, that trust account may not always have been adequately funded.
Correct. And that's why the loan started many years ago.
Okay. So your understanding of the start of the loan is not...
Let me just clarify.
Yes.
I meant the loan provision and the insurance that started because there was not enough funding and paying of the premiums.
Right. So premiums aren't paid on the insurance policy. That gets converted to a loan against the policy that would need to be paid back before money's applied to premiums again. That's your understanding?
I didn't know the actual details and logistics, but I would think that you could do them simultaneously. You could pay a current premium and pay back a loan and the interest as well.
Okay.
You didn't only have to, you weren't not allowed or restricted from paying a current premium until you paid the loan back.
In either case, though, your understanding is because the trust account hadn't been adequately funded in prior years.
Yes, gravity is real. I can't handle this anymore. We're speeding up after. No, we are not doing more. Gravity is real. Numbers happen. If you don't have money, you overdraft. This is ridiculous. This is reality. I understand, Ian, you haven't been there very long. So we're just going to go back and see if the state needs to unconfuselate everyone. Good night. He went to break. Holy crap. What the hell? Oh, God, he's still on.
EcoStar, right? Let me rephrase that, because I shouldn't use that word, perhaps. Paul, aside from the income he received from Square One and EcoStar, was also getting money from other sources, such as disability, right?
Yes.
Yes, disability. Are we going to get into the fact that Paul made sure that his salary went to his wife so he could get benefits? Do we want to talk about how shady all that crap was? Because you're kind of opening the door to the fact that he committed disability fraud. Not that it matters in the grand scheme of quadruple murder, but it seems like you shouldn't be exposing your client to more felonious, possible charges in your defense.
And Keith was not.
It wasn't.
And if Doris Duke went away and EcoStar and Square One lost that contract, that would totally cut off Keith from making any money.
At that point, yes. Yes, but except for EcoStar, which they still were earning money. But correct.
Nowhere near what Square One is.
That's right now.
But that fact wouldn't have cut Paul off from the other money he was getting from sources such as disability.
Correct.
And what he's doing here rather terribly is he's trying to disprove the motive that the state put out, that Paul was going to be in a very not so great financial state if the company did sell. Because yes, he did have other sources of income, but his outgoing bills were above his means. He had been spending more than he was earning, and it was going to be very hard to stay in the lifestyle he and his family had become accustomed to when this, if the business sold, and if he had to actually find not familial work to earn a living.
Just wanted to clarify one other thing, and I want to show you S12, which you looked at before. This was the TD Bank, the statement for the Keith Caneiro Irrevocable Trust that you said you would look at periodically?
Yes.
Okay. When you recognized it before, I'm sure you saw at the top, it does say ATF Keith Caneiro Irrevocable Trust Agreement.
Correct.
And below that, it also lists a address.
Correct.
And it lists the address of 15 Willowbrook Road, Colts Neck, New Jersey.
Yes.
Okay. That was
Keith's home
That was
address.
Keith's home address, right? So the trust bank statements have Keith's home address on it, correct?
Now, because of the trust and how it was set up, Keith could have been getting bank statements, but he legitimately had no control over this. So if he did see any discrepancies, if, anything like that, he had to go through Paul for any of the discrepancies. So it's not like Keith maybe knew, but it's also that Paul was at this time, I do believe, doctoring the statements. So he did get the statements, but they were doctored.
And over the years, I remember Keith sending you via email trust documents from the trust account.
I don't remember. I just remember more recent years I would get them from Paul.
Okay.
I remember also earlier on, they would have a statement for me at the office in Woodbridge or Homedale. So I don't know how they got there, either from Paul, if you're maybe saying Keith. They were at the office when I would go there. So in the later years, well, current years, based on the incident, it would come from Paul.
Okay. But you're saying you don't have a specific recollection of getting
I don't remember
account
that at
statements from
all.
Keith?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know, so I guess what you're testifying to is the fact that if you picked up the records physically, you don't know who put them there.
In the earlier years, maybe they gave them to the bookkeeper there, there were other bookkeepers in the past, or whatever, but I don't know how they got to the office. They were there.
Okay. And then, do you remember?
Damn it, now I have the song from Mahogany, Do You Know Where You're Going To, stuck in my head. Damn it, Ian. I already didn't like you. Now you have a song from Mahogany. Although Diana Ross is great, now I have Do You Know Where You're Going To stuck in my head. So thank you for that.
Receiving an email from Keith in February of 2018 with the trust account bank statements attached to it? Do you know? Hi, Mark. This is D16. This is an email, correct?
Yes.
It's from Keith.
Yes.
It's to you.
Yes.
It's got. We see it has attachments on it.
Yes.
We see that there's attachments listed in the file, right?
Yes.
When we go to those, these are the.
Yeah, but it seems like the judge is letting them go, and I know the Murphy's Law of streaming. I have Mr. Mo making me a pizza, but I know as soon as I turn this off and get comfy in my bed, they're going to call the verdict because that is just the way this goes. So I am staying on at least until 6:30 because that's generally when court ends for the day. To see what the judge's kind of policy is on letting them go late. He has told all prosecutor and the defense to stay within 15 minutes of the courthouse. No, because then I will have to go back on, and you guys don't understand. Once I'm off, I am off.
Okay, that's fine.
What's the date of the email?
I'm sorry, Judge. This is February 17, 2018. So, you agree with me that, though you may not have a specific recollection, there may well have been times where Keith was sending you the trust account
Well,
statement.
that sense that he did, but I don't remember. Yes.
Okay. Another issue I just wanted to go back to very briefly with you was this issue about the account ending in 1361, the closed.
That was the J. Martin
Hey, Public service announcement to whoever's in court. Watch what I do here. Now, it's amazing. It's a Christmas miracle, and it's even a pre-Lenten miracle. But watch this. It can be done.
Right. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I mark as D41. Okay. This is the
Trust account.
it's a trust account, and it's for the year 2014. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just going to take you to the April section of that
Hold on.
statement.
Can we give her a sidebar?
You can.
Sidebar 2, the defense is just chugging along on the judge's very last nerve, being terrible at his job. You know, I'd need the Werthers to deal with this man. I would have so many emotional support snacks out. Yeah, it's the good little boy outfit in a 40-year-old man, or I think he's 60-year-old man's body. It's just, it's very incongruous.
To sustain the objection based upon what... Sorry, just so that the jurors know, I'm going to sustain the objection based upon what we just talked about, but I'm going to let you ask whatever question you want to ask right now.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. So, Mr. Weinstein,
Yes.
redirecting your attention to the April section of the 2014 irrevocable trust account statements. If we look to the date of 4/24,
11,000 went to 1361.
right, thank you. So 1361 was the J. Martin operating account.
Systems, yes.
Systems.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And yes, Kelly Rager, 3456, we are on Uvalde watch. I don't think that we will get a verdict today if the judge allows them to leave at a relatively normal time. If he says that you're here until you come to a verdict, then I think we'll get a verdict tonight. But if he allows them to go home and come back tomorrow morning with a fresh brain and to go over, I do think that they would probably prefer to come back tomorrow. I think that the last thing that this jury wants to do is seem disrespectful to either the victims or the family members, so they want to do a really good job. And there was so much information in the trial. I had close to 250 pages of notes just myself, and I missed a little bit of the trial. So I do think that it will be really dependent on how late the judge makes them stay, and wanting to show respect and deference by doing a really good job and looking at all the information. Oh, are you done, Cletus? Don't threaten me with a good time.
That after
Damn!
after November,
I was so close. I thought you were giving up. You were taking your binders of stupid and you were getting ready to go to your little desk and be quiet. But then you decided to do another prayer man pose, because of course you did.
of 2018, into December of 2018, let's say, you had some dealings with Tiffany Rivera, right? And you had also some dealings with Paul Caneiro?
Yes.
And did those take place at the Asbury Park office?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And was it your understanding at that point in time that with Keith now,
I'm trying to remember if it was then or after that, but I do remember meeting in Asbury Park. I can't really remember for sure if it was December, but I do know at some point in time I was trying to figure out what their plan was.
okay, it's certainly after November 20th of 2018. And Corey is involved at that point in time in administrating the businesses.
Well, his father actually, Cesar Caneiro, was like the executor or the administrator or whatever, and Corey was trying to assist his dad.
Prior to that,
Now, you will want to take notice in the defense. The defense has put up a third-party defense stating that the state did not thoroughly investigate the third brother of the Caneiro brothers, Corey. Now, according to the state, this is ridiculous. I don't know, but from all available kind of true crime podcasts, which I know are not, admissible in court, it seems to all accounts of people that have researched this case, that Corey was not really involved in anything really financially. Yes, he might have helped, the father try to be the, executive or executor of the estate, but he wasn't involved to the extent that Paul was.
prior to November 20th of 2018. You would never see Corey at the businesses, correct?
Years ago, he was working there, but no.
When you say years ago, can we clarify that?
Yes. It was a number of years. He was working there for a short period of time.
Short period of time.
Yeah, then he wasn't. And that I can't remember.
Less than a year.
Probably a year, something like that.
You don't have a recollection of how many years ago that was? Okay. You have a recollection of why he left?
No, anything I would have known is hearsay, not happy. That's all I would have known, something like that.
You're using the word hearsay to mean something you heard from somebody else?
Yeah, like, around the office. I don't really know why he left.
Okay.
I can't give you a definitive answer.
Okay. Can you give me an answer on whether he left because of his own decision or because he left because other people thought he should leave?
I have absolutely no idea.
EcoStar is placed into the hands of a receiver you testified about, right? The receiver who...
I think everything, yeah.
Relevance of this charge.
I'm sorry?
Relevance. This is after the fact.
Who picked out these people's outfit? We have Milton from Office Space. We've got Ian Crossland. We've got... Well, we've got Kim Kardashian, and then we've got the state prosecutor, who seems fairly normal. What is this case? I must have a talent for picking the ones. Well, I kind of knew this one was going to be a cluster F because the judge, being pissed off was the only thing I was seeing in court TV updates, and I was like, oh, this seems like a trial for me. The judge losing his ish every 5 minutes because the defense is just terrible. I mean, at this point, Ian over here is about as useful as tits on a bull.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize to you. It was just an issue that I had to deal with. I have to decide what evidence you hear and what you don't hear, so sorry for the little delay there. Counsel, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Are you aware of the fact of whether EcoStar was sold in the years after 2018?
Yes.
Are you aware of what year that occurred in?
Yes, I do.
And what year was that?
I do because I was home recovering from hip surgery.
Just tell us the year, sir.
I'm sorry. That's how I remember, though.
Okay, that's fine.
I had to speak with the attorneys about that situation. I think they formalized the deal probably in May or June of 2019, I believe.
And do you recall how much it sold for?
I don't remember that. In the end, I don't.
No.
I don't.
Do you remember if it was more or less than what you were talking
I think
about?
it was in that area, if anything, but I don't remember.
When you say that area, are we talking about 750?
Between 800 area, something like that.
I'm sorry, just one moment.
Sure.
Oh no, Kim. You tell him to sit the hell down, Kim.
When we are talking about officers of these companies, in terms of Square One, in terms of EcoStar, we're talking about just Paul and Keith, right?
Correct.
There was, during these years, 2010 through 2018, there was no third person.
Well, EchoStar at one point was a third officer.
Right, but
But otherwise it was Paul and Keith.
it was Paul. Right. There were no other officers.
Right.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Redirect.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Weinstein, on cross-examination, there was some discussion regarding the fact that the TD Trust account wasn't always sufficiently funded to pay the premiums.
Correct.
Okay. When there was money in there from Keith's payroll, where should that money have gone, to your
To
knowledge?
pay the premiums of Canada Life or pay down the loans, anything, it should have gone to Canada Life.
Okay. In terms of the bank statements, there was some discussion about whose address was on the TD bank statements. You indicated, I believe, that you would receive them from Paul.
Correct.
Were there times when you would have to request them multiple times from him?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, in the period of time, 18, beginning of 18 and later in 18, I would ask Paul, email Paul for the bank statements.
And what would happen?
Sometimes it took time, and then he would send me multiple of them at the same time.
Now, there was discussion on cross-examination to the fact you were asked whether Keith was on disability, and you said no. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay, and I think you indicated Paul was on disability?
Yes.
Okay, to your knowledge, would that have prevented him from obtaining outside employment?
Yes, it would have.
Nothing further.
Recross. If any.
I don't think so, Judge. Thank you.
All right, sir, you can step down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Call your next witness.
Thanks, Judge. State calls Ronald Ortiz.
Now, Ronald Artigas is the insurance agent. We should be able to get through him fairly quickly. The state, I think we are going to see this pattern going forward. The state's going to be very quick and efficient, and defense is going to try to kill me with ADHD.
I said, just watch your step. Could you put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. You say you're...
I thought we weren't letting Al Pacino play any more court movies after Devil's Advocate. I'm here for it, though.
Full name for the record and spell your last name once you sit down and you're comfortable. Go ahead.
Ronald F. Artigas.
Spell your last name for me.
Artiges.
Prosecutor.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us what you do for a living?
I'm an insurance broker.
And where do you work?
Raymond G. McCarthy and Company.
Okay, just if you could slow down a little bit, because it's hard to understand you.
Oh, okay.
So, where do you work?
Raymond G. McCarthy and Company.
Okay, and how long have you been in the business of being an insurance broker?
45 years.
Are you familiar with the Caneiro family?
I am.
How are you familiar with them?
I was introduced through a broker, Robert Reichenstein. I was working with him and handling health insurance for a company that Paul and Keith worked at.
What time frame was that?
2000.
Okay, and over the years, did you do any work for them?
I handled the health insurance. I also handled life insurance. Also handled homeowners insurance for Paul. I had, other accounts, disability insurance and so forth that we handled for J. Martin, Square One.
Okay, so there's been testimony about it, but just to your knowledge, how many businesses did Paul own?
2.
Okay, and who did he own them with?
Keith.
Okay, were you familiar specifically with Keith Caneiro?
I don't understand what you mean.
Were you familiar? Did you know Keith Caneiro?
I did.
Okay, and about how long have you known him for?
Since 2000.
Is it the same for Mr. Caneiro too?
Yes.
Okay. You indicated that you would do some work with regard to certain types of insurance.
Yes.
Did you ever do any work specifically with regard to the businesses?
Yes.
And can you tell us about that?
Well, for J Mart, I handled the ancillary benefits as well as the health insurance. So we did the group health insurance, we did the group disability insurance, group life insurance, group dental insurance. And EchoStar, which is the other company, we handled the health insurance and also the workers' comp insurance.
Who was the group health insurance provider for the businesses?
Verizon.
Do you know if Paul Caneiro and his family were covered by that health insurance?
Yes.
Okay. And who was the group disability insurance provider for the businesses?
Sun Life.
And do you know whether the defendant was receiving any disability from Sun Life?
Yes.
To your knowledge, what role did both Paul and Keith play with regard to the day-to-day affairs of each business? And I want to stick to the time frame of 2017 and 2018.
So they both owned the organizations, and I think Keith, for the most part, was working from his home at that time. Was going to school and managing affairs for J. Martin. Paul was managing EchoStar.
When you say Keith was going to school, do you know what he was going to school for?
He went back to school to get his degree, master's degree.
Okay. And do you know when that was approximately?
I just know that I believe he completed all that in 2017.
Okay. Do you know why he went back to school to get his master's degree?
Okay, he was looking to sell J. Martin and EchoStar and move into like a CIO position with the corporation.
Did he have any specific corporation in mind, or was this just?
Not to my knowledge.
Now, how long? You may have said it, but how long had you known Paul Caneiro for?
Same as Keith, since 2000.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you please point him out?
Paul.
Identifies the defendant.
Now, as Keith's insurance broker, do you recall whether he was a policyholder of any life insurance policies?
Yes, he was.
Do you recall what they were?
He had a number of term insurance policies. Some were his own policies. Some were company policies. He had whole life insurance, disability insurance, but life insurance, he had term and whole life insurance.
Were you familiar with the Canada whole life insurance policy?
I was familiar with the policy, yes.
Okay. And you mentioned a couple of different things. You said a term policy and a life policy. Is there a difference between the two?
Yes. So term insurance is basically you're paying a premium for a certain period of time, and then there's a death benefit attached to that. There's no return. The premiums are generally leveled for a certain period of time. Whole life insurance, you're paying a premium that's guaranteed for the rest of your life, and at some point that death benefit will be paid because of the fact the policy is guaranteeing an insurance payment when you die or when you reach the age of 100, whatever that insurance amount would be given to the recipient because the policy ends at 100. The difference between term also is there's no return on the money that goes into the policy. Whole life insurance policy has a guaranteed cash value, so at some point, if you wanted to turn that policy back to the company, they will reimburse you, for the premiums paid plus interest, and also there's a dividend structure. So it can be used not only for death benefits, but it can also be used as far as a savings vehicle.
Now, Keith's Canada life insurance policy, was that a whole or a term?
Whole life.
You indicated you were familiar with that. Were you involved with Keith Caneiro when he purchased that whole life insurance policy from Canada Life?
No.
How then are you familiar with it?
Keith had contacted me. I was familiar with the policy when Bob Reichenstein left the business. I was aware of the existing policies that he had life insurance. Canada Life was one of them. Then in April, I think in 2018, Keith had contacted me. He had a statement. He was trying to figure out why there was a loan against this policy. And that's how I contacted Canada Life, became a little bit more familiar with the policy.
What was the death benefit or the payout value of the Canada life insurance policy?
$3 million.
Do you know who the beneficiary of that life insurance policy was?
It was a trust.
The trust, okay. Were you familiar with the terms of the trust and how it was structured?
No.
Okay. Were you familiar with the trustee?
Yes.
Who was that?
Paul.
Now, with respect to Keith's Canada Life whole life insurance policy, was there something called a cash value component to that?
Yes.
Can you explain that?
So whole life insurance, you're paying a premium, obviously, for the rest of your life because they're guaranteeing the death benefit at some point. And because it's such a long-term relationship with the insurance company, if you wanted to, you can give the policy back to the insurance company, and they will reimburse you money that builds up in the policy, guarantee a cash value in the policy. You also have access to that. You can take a loan against the policy. So you'd still have the insurance minus whatever the loan value is of the policy.
Were you familiar with how the premium payments on that Canada life insurance policy were structured?
They were paid on a quarterly basis.
Do you recall the amount?
$7,900.
And how would those premiums get paid?
They were paid by the company to a bank account, and then that money was transferred to Canada Life.
Do you know who was responsible for transferring?
So that's $24,000 a year, if my math is mathing. Approximately. Look, I'm not doing 800. Y'all are lucky I'm even approximating this. But, I mean, it seems like a good fiscal policy, but you kind of have to be rich to cash in, or at least able to pay the premiums. I learned something new today that I would not have learned unless I were forced to in the name of true crime, because Mr. Mo wants to talk to me about financial stuff, and I'm like, no, thank you. But there you
The
go.
money from that bank account to Canada Life.
I think Paul.
And do you recall where that bank account was held?
TD Bank.
Now, to your knowledge, who had access to that TD Bank trust account?
Paul.
Do you know if Keith had access to that?
I don't believe he did.
And without telling me anything anybody said, what makes you think that?
Because of...
Hold on.
All he said is he doesn't believe he did. Doesn't know or not know. So I don't know what the basis of that. It would be speculative anyway.
Do you know the answer to that, or did you use the word "I think" because you don't know for sure, or do you know?
Just repeat the question.
I had asked who has access to that bank account, and I believe he...
Okay. Who had access to the bank account?
Paul.
All right. Are you aware if anybody else had access to the account?
No.
No, you're not aware, or nobody else did?
No, I'm not aware.
Okay. Go ahead.
Were there times when you would review bank statements from that TD Trust account?
There was only one time that I saw bank statements.
Do you recall when that was?
In November 2018.
Okay. Do you recall the specific date? If not, it's okay.
No.
Okay. Now, do you know who would get those trust bank statements?
No.
Okay. All right. So you recall reviewing those bank statements, though, in November of 2018?
Yes.
Who did you review them with?
I was on the phone. They were sent to me via email, and I reviewed them with Keith and Steve Weinstein.
Okay. I want to back up now to April of 2018. Specifically, I want to draw your attention to that month. What, if any, issues did you become aware of regarding Keith's life insurance trust?
Keith had contacted me, inquiring he had gotten a statement showing that there was a loan against the Canada Life policy. He didn't understand the policy, so he contacted me. He asked me what that meant. What is why would there be a loan against this policy?
And did you explain?
And I said, based on what I see here, there's either the money was taken out for whatever reason you would take it out, or there's also in a whole life insurance policy what's called a premium loan. So to prevent the policy from lapsing, if there's this substantial cash value in the policy, they'll take a loan against the policy automatically to make sure the policy doesn't lapse and pay the premium.
Do you recall?
Now, this was the first instance where Paul said, look, I accidentally, as trustee, paid the wrong set of bills. I meant to be paying Canada Life, but it was going to my account, as happens once in a while. Basically, he said, I'll pay the money back. It's my fault, my bad. And it seems like Keith forgave his brother and was willing to keep him on as trustee, or alternately, I don't know how difficult it is to switch trustees on an irrevocable trust. So Paul stayed the trustee, and then again in November, Keith finds out that Canada Life is again not getting payments.
Receiving any emails in April of 2018 regarding that conversation?
Yes.
And who did you receive an email from?
Keith.
Okay. Do you recall receiving any emails from Paul?
I was CC'd. I was part of an email chain with Keith, Paul, myself, and I think Steve.
I'm showing counsel what's been marked as S11. May I approach?
Okay.
I'm showing you, sir, what's been marked as S11. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that?
This was we were trying to figure out, I think it's a breakdown. Let me just read this. This was Paul had identified why the premiums hadn't been paid and this is where they went. So he was giving an explanation of the premiums were paid to the wrong place.
Okay, so let me just ask you, this email, who is that from?
Paul Caneiro,
Okay, and when is it sent?
April 11th,
What, of what?
2018,
Is there a time?
11:03, 11:01, no, yeah, 11, I can't remember.
Is that 01?
11:01 a.m.
And who is it to?
Keith Caneiro, and CC'd me and Steve.
Okay, and is there a subject line?
Trust reconciliation.
Okay. Permission to publish?
You can.
Mr. Ortiz, do you see that on the screen in front of you? You see that? Okay. Is that essentially the email that I just showed you?
Yes.
Okay. And you're copied on this, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and this is from who?
Paul.
Okay. And is this the email that you were just referring to?
Yes.
Okay, and does Mr. Caneiro on there indicate he selected the wrong bill pay from some of the payments?
Yes.
Okay, if we could just scroll down to the end, please. Okay, what does that last line say before his signature?
Sorry for all the confusion. I've had my head up my ass.
Okay, thank you. Did you look into this issue any further after you received that email?
No.
Okay, do you know what happened with regard to any missing payments?
No.
I want to draw your attention about 7 months ahead now to November 19th of 2018. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
Okay. What, if any, communications did you have with Canada Life Insurance Company on behalf of Keith that day?
So Keith had contacted me regarding, again, a loan on this policy, and it had grown from where it was. He didn't understand. He had said that the premiums were being paid. So I said, perhaps there was a problem with the premium payments, and they took a loan out on the policy to pay your premiums under the automatic premium loan provision. So I contacted Canada Life to find out whether or not the premiums in question had been paid, and they said they didn't receive those premiums.
Did you relay that information to Keith Caneiro
Yes.
that night?
Yeah.
That afternoon, if you recall? And how did you do that?
Via phone.
What specifically did you tell Keith?
I said that as far as Canada Life, they have no receipt of any payments.
Without telling me anything that Keith may have said, what was his demeanor like?
He was frustrated.
What did you and Keith do that afternoon and that evening?
Well, we were trying to, Paul wasn't feeling well. We were trying to just find out why the premiums weren't credited through Canada Life. So the question was, if they were paid through the bank, then Canada Life obviously should have received those payments. So somewhere there was a mistake.
Now, when you
Yes, and there was a lot of confusion because if you'll remember from the last witness, if your brain still works, Paul was using Adobe or some kind of thing to add that or show that payments were being made to Canada Life. Now, there weren't checks associated with those payments, but it did say, withdrawal to Canada Life, but it was all various numbers and amounts. It wasn't like a uniform amount like quarterly of the $7,800. It was more like $1,000 here, $1,500 here, $500, $300. It was really weird and odd, sort of piecemeal things that should have probably been caught if the accountant was paying attention.
say you were trying to find out, were you looking at any documentation over the phone with Keith?
Steve had shared the TD Bank statements with Keith and myself.
Okay, and when you say the TD Bank statements, what year?
The ones for 2018 that specifically stated the fact that the premiums were paid to Canada Life through the TD Bank policy. So, it's a Canada Life right on there. So that led us to believe that there's a possibility that maybe Canada Life made a mistake.
Okay, so just so I understand, those 2018 bank statements were showing payments being made to Canada Life?
Yes,
From where?
from that statement.
The TD Trust account?
Yes. Well, from the TD Bank account.
How did you end the conversation with Keith ultimately that night? Was there a plan for the next day?
Keith had sent an email to us all. He was frustrated with what was going on, and he had said that he was going to make a commitment.
Don't say what he was going to say.
No.
Without telling me anything that Keith may have said, did you have a plan for the next day?
In regards to this,
Yes.
I didn't have a plan because of the fact that I had done everything I could.
Okay, understood. Now, aside from the email that you said you received from Keith that night, what, if anything else, did you receive from Keith?
That night,
Yes.
I don't think I received any. There was perhaps some other emails, but it was mostly a conversation on the phone.
I'll ask it this way. Do you recall ever receiving a resume from Keith?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And when was that?
That same night, I believe, he sent the resume. We had a conversation in regards to what he was trying to accomplish, and his hope was that he was going to move on private industry and go into, the commercial business, looking for a job as a chief information officer for a company. So my wife was vice president at the time, presidential, in the technology field. So I offered to share his resume with her, and that's why he sent it.
I want to draw your attention now to the next morning, Tuesday, November 20th of 2018. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
Okay. And
Tiffany from his office called me and said that there was an incident at Paul's house, a claim, and he needed to speak to me. So I called him and he answered.
And what did he say to you over the phone?
Paul, could you look any more guilty? Like the day you find out that your brother has been unalived and his family horribly unalived, but you have to call your insurance guy because of the fire at your house, in which allegedly you were trying to burn evidence of you being the unaliver. Yeah, way to look all the innocent, dude. Again, due process, the state has to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. I just don't think they're going to have a hard time with that.
So there was a fire at my house. I contacted the insurance company to put the claim in, and so the claim's already been reported. And then he was going to give me the claim number, and then I'd work as I do, helping to get the claim paid.
What time was that phone call at about?
9:30 a.m.
Do you recall the name of the insurance, his homeowner's insurance company?
Sure.
Okay, and just to be clear, he called you and told you he had put a claim in for his house?
Yes.
And nothing further?
Cross.
So, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Keith had a number of different insurance policies.
Yes.
And some were life insurance, some were other types of policies. Do you know why the Canada Life policy in particular was in a trust?
No.
You don't. Okay. You were aware that premiums were supposed to be paid on that policy quarterly, right?
Yes.
And those quarterly payments were supposed to be $7,800?
Yes.
So Keith got you involved with this policy, I'd imagine, because, you're in insurance and you're familiar with these type of things, right?
Yes.
You weren't the one that advised Keith to put the policy in the trust.
I was not.
In April of 2018, you mentioned.
Be lazy. I kind of picked this one because I kept seeing pop-ups that the judge was losing his ever-living mind with the defense. So I thought there might have been like a Borowski Chambers now. And, I love to see it. But then I didn't realize that Ian Crossland from Tim Pool was going to be the defense attorney. So you win some, you lose some. We're going to get righteous judge anger at stupidity, but we're also going to have to deal with said stupidity. Yeah, it's kind of like Haunted Mansion. I expect to see Walford and whatever his name is, the two little old men Muppets somewhere near the ceiling.
There was an issue with payments getting from the trust account to the insurance company.
In April, Keith had asked me why there was a loan against his policy, and I explained to him how that loan could possibly have been generated.
Now, at this point in time, there was that email that you had referenced where Paul's talking about paying the wrong people from the account, right? You saw that just a second ago?
A cup and then you need to put the rest of it in Get a cup.
After that happened, Paul told Keith that he was going to put that money back, right? Pay that money back, right?
Yes.
And he did actually pay that money back to Keith, right?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
No, because after that, at that point, I was out of it.
Okay. So there was no follow-up with you and Keith about whether that money was paid back to him?
Correct.
Okay. And then between that event in April and the event in November that you talked about, did you have any further involvement with issues related to the trust account?
So the next time I became aware of anything was when Keith contacted me in November.
Right. Okay, so between April
Nothing.
and that date in November, there was nothing.
I thought everything was handled. Yeah, closed.
But your involvement was nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Now, Keith, going back to the April portion where you were involved, Keith was in communication with the insurance company, right?
No, I don't think Keith was in April. Keith had asked me what on a whole life insurance policy. Why would there be a loan against policy? So I had contacted Canada Life, and they told me that premiums hadn't been received.
Didn't Canada Life send Keith a copy of the entire payment history for the policy in April of 2018?
Well, that's maybe where the reconciliation came. I didn't have a copy of that.
Okay.
So
You were, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say, didn't Keith send you that via email?
The
history of payments on the policy?
Yes.
He did?
Oh, yeah, he sent me.
Okay.
Yes.
Crystal 7260. I know the jury can go as long as needed, but do we know about how late they may stay if they're not close? That's what I'm kind of waiting for. I'm hoping that since we're near to where they typically end, that the judge may come out and ask them. I mean, we kind of got a feel for Bev that she wasn't going to let them stay late. As for this judge, I don't know, because there have been several times where they stayed late and he has been irritated at the attorneys for making his court staff stay late. But I don't know what his general policy is about keeping people late or what it is. So not quite sure.
Okay. So basically, your understanding then would be in April, Keith was in contact with Canada Life. They sent him the payment history for the policy, and he sent it to you.
When I spoke with Canada Life, I believe, when I spoke with Canada Life, I asked them to send the payment history